Theo, we're live. Half Millie Billies, baby. Splitting a team
30
from the
seconds.
spot.
30 seconds before first pick goes, we're in the 12 spot, which is a spot we're really
great.
excited about.
Look, for the show purposes, we've split a team before. We split a triflex, 1250 triflex and boys. Go check that out on the Goat District podcast. But we haven't split a football guys yet, and we're off. But we haven't split one yet. We're doing a live show. We're gonna see how it goes. We may tip a pick, we may screw ourselves, but we're from the 12 spot, so it can't be that bad, right, Theo?
Yeah, and I'm assuming that our league mates are not watching us right now, so we can kind of discuss our process here. Christian McCaffrey goes 1, Dalvin Cook's about to go 2, Kelsey 3.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yes. Spoiler alert. Hey, stop tipping picks. You're like Adam Schefter back in the.
There you go, Dalvin Cook, and I expect to see a Kelsey going to
Hollywood. Hey, Theo, this is a stacked draft. I think that there's 11 out of 12 teams have a badge associated with the team. Did we do this to ourselves, or is this just the way it goes?
Hey man, iron sharpens iron. This time of year, you want the competition. If you're drafting in June, you want the competition.
Oh, it's so great.
Kamara at the 3. That's a little bit surprising, but I think it's fine. Glenn Lowy at the 5 spot. A great player in the 5 spot, NFFC and FFPC.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't he one of your NFFC guys?
He's in the New York Super with me for the NFFC. He's probably one of the handful of best players in the NFFC. Really, really sharp player. He's going to draft for value. And then we have a Jeff Z sighting in this draft, which tell the viewers a little bit about his builds, because I know you've drafted them. He
is a running back crazy guy, except I saw a draft board that he was in last night. And Theo, I don't think he went crazy running back. So here's my question back to you. Do we anticipate, we're in the 12 spot, do we anticipate somebody just sucking up all the running backs such that like a 0 RB strategy won't work and we'll screw ourselves out of the 12 spot? Or is this a fake out and we're just getting caught in the vortex of a Jeff Z sighting?
You never know.
You never know.
The fact that you never know with these drafts. I mean, you see some kind of interesting builds this time of year. People want to get those unusual builds. Jonathan Taylor, Zeke Elliott, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley at the 5 spot to Glenn. Glenn is not scared of Saquon's injury. Good to see for our 1250 team. Darren Waller goes. So that's one guy
Waller goes.
So we're thinking Tyreek
at the 109. Darren Waller goes at the 109 there. We were thinking Darren Waller at the 112. So to give that away.
Well, we're going to get Tyreek Hill, or we're going to get Austin Eckler at least, and potentially we get both of them, which I know works. That's our kind of our ideal guys in the 1-2 turn here.
Yeah. So even if 111 is listening, we're going to get one of our 2 guys that we were talking about.
Go ahead, 111. Take one of our guys.
The very brief pre-show. So Eckler went here. So we're up. We've got double picks. We've got a minute on the clock. Theo, I'm thinking we go Tyreek Hill because that's what we said. I was very pessimistic. Let's let the clock run down a little bit just so we have time. What are you thinking about for the second pick then? So
we've discussed Antonio Gibson, who we both like a lot, which there's a lot of buzz and for the right reasons in the community. He's a very talented guy. He's a riser right now. We also have discussed Nick Chubb, who's more of a sure thing. I'd argue that he has maybe a lower ceiling than Antonio Gibson because he lacks the receiving ability if they choose to feature Gibson as a receiver. So let's take Hill right here.
I'm going to lock in Tyreek Hill just so
lock him in. So we get our wide receiver 1, which we both love.
Yep. That's it's a love. I was so pessimistic. I was driving home here. I was like, no, there's no way we get Tyreek Hill, and we got him. So I'm happy about that at the 112. Look, with this draft, I'm seeing a lot of running backs off the board, Theo. I think my preference is to get some running back on the board here, just so we don't hang ourselves if we try to go full 0 RB. What are you thinking here?
I think we go Nick Chubb or Antonio Gibson. We've discussed both these guys. I don't have any Nick Chubb. Actually, I take that back. I do have a Nick Chubb share, but I don't have much Nick Chubb. I don't mind going Nick Chubb here unless you have a strong feeling for Gibson. I love Gibson. I love catching upside. I think he's going to explode this year.
What are you
So
thinking?
let's go team upside and let's go Antonio Gibson.
Let's go Gibson. Let's go Rican Gibson. I'm going to lock that in here. Okay, so now, look, we went Tyreek Hill, Antonio Gibson. I feel good about that. Najee Harris went next. Theo, this was a pretty running back heavy start for the draft. The entire first round was 9 running backs, 2 tight ends, 1 wide receiver, and that wide receiver was ours at the 112 spot. I would say fairly unusual for football guys so far this year. I think normally we'd see maybe like 2 to 3 wide receivers first round. Maybe like a Tyreek Hill. Maybe you see like a AJ Brown or Devontae, or maybe like a Calvin Ridley sneak into there. But
yeah, I mean, I think that the running back position is going to get hit hard and often in the first 2 rounds. I was thrilled to get Tyreek Hill there at the 112. The other night, Billy Muzio, shout out to Billy Muzio, he took him at the 109 in the draft I was in. I thought that was a great pick there. I had the 106 in that same draft. I considered Tyreek Hill there. So I
we talked about that
running back heavy, but I think Hill is just such a great pick for us. And Gibson, like we said, it's he could end up being running back 2 or 3 this year. So he could finish with a lot of points if they use him in the same ways they use McKissick in the passing game. So I'm happy with our start. Generally, what we've discussed a build. I kind of like when I'm at the 101 or the 112, and I know you're kind of like this as well, where we really kind of hammer wide receiver. Yeah. And, especially in that 3rd and 4th round, we'll be looking to maybe get at least one, high-end wide receiver there. And I know we discussed TJ Hawkinson a little bit. What are your thoughts on Hawkinson at the 3-4 turn?
Yeah, I think he's in the contention there. I think it's him. I hate that he has moved up so much. I much preferred him like a month ago, back in the early stages of early drafting, back in April, May, when you can get him in the 4th, 5th round. I much preferred him there. I think that there is, I'm gonna cite something and I'm gonna get roasted for it because I'm not gonna have the data in front of me to back me up. But those mid-round tight ends, like once we're gonna get out of the top 3, I don't think they ever like return the value that we think they are. It's much better just to take the dart throws. So I don't mind a TJ Hawkinson at 312, but I think that maybe for our team as we think about it, I think he's definitely in contention. But if push comes to shove, I think that you could easily convince me to move off of a Hawk there, the 3-4 turn.
Yeah, I think right there about the 3-4 turn is kind of value for him. When he starts creeping up into the mid-3rd, I think you kind of got to pump the brakes a little bit. But I mean, you talk about a guy who could finish with more points than George Kittle, and he could end up with more targets than George Kittle. And he's going a lot later. We're going to miss out on Kyle Pitts. He's almost assuredly going to go for somewhere around, the 2-3 turn-ish. He's going to go pretty soon. Nick Chubb, who we discussed, fell a little bit. Aaron Jones continues to fall a little bit. I think he's kind of value now. I took him the other day. There you go. Devontae Adams goes. So one of these teams is going to start out with Christian McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook and end up with Aaron Jones, which is really, really a strong start in my opinion. We'll see. Unless they're dodging
I'm just going to say. Yeah, I mean, we like I said at the top, there's some sharp drafters here. So I mean, if they're really looking for that, call it the anchor RB plus the smash wide receivers. I mean, maybe Aaron Jones falls even further.
Yeah. No. I get the strategy, and I get kind of avoiding him a little bit with the Aaron Rodgers up in the air. I just think that he's such a safe player at this point, where I think he'll get a lot of the Jamal Williams targets. That went to Detroit. I don't know. I like Aaron Jones in the next couple of picks. Looking at this board, so Ridley goes before Hopkins and right after Diggs. So that's kind of its own little tier. Diggs, Ridley, Hopkins. DK Metcalf goes off the board, and Aaron Jones. Yeah,
and Spearmint Rhinos was on the one hole last night in a Kentucky draft I did. Maybe I should have done some Oppo research and pulled up his draft board from last night. Maybe that's what we should do, Theo. No, I mean, there's not much we can do Oppo research from the 12 spot against him. But that McCaffrey Jones Metcalf start, that's a nice start there from the 1 spot.
looking at our options coming up, I mean, I would love for Terry McLaurin to fall to us, CeeDee Lamb, Allen Robinson, I wouldn't mind. TJ Hawkinson, we've discussed. Let's see what's coming to us. Justin Jefferson goes off the board. So Miller Times ends up with Dalvin Cook, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson. I like that start.
Theo, I was taking so much A.J. Brown. Like late first. And these people getting the A.J. Brown discount are making me so jealous of what I was doing in early drafting season. I mean, I don't hate what I did. I would take A.J. Brown again there. Like I almost like threaten people like, hey, if you let me have him in that mid, if I'm in one of those like 5, 6, 7 spots and you let A.J. Brown slip to me in the second round, I'm just taking him, without even thinking about it. And now people are getting him at this huge discount. I think that there's been a couple times, right? Like, I don't know if he's gotten past the 302 or whatever, but where like you can do like you can get like a Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, A.J. Brown start if you're lucky.
No, absolutely.
It drives me nuts. It drives me crazy in these tournaments.
I mean, there's the discount with the Julio signing where now he's going in that right around the 2-3 turn. But I don't think those shares are going to hurt you. I think he's going to end up finishing, very high in the wide receiver ranks. I still think he's going to get somewhere north of 130 targets. Maybe without Julio, he would have gotten into the 150s, 160s, and just been potential wide receiver 1 overall. I still think, he could creep up into the 140s. But I don't think you're going to regret that pick. It's not anything that's going to kill your team. Yeah.
No, I'm just jealous of the Dalvin, AJ Brown are going to trump my AJ Brown and Cam or AJ Brown and Zeke or whatever. So
no, for sure.
That's the thing. That's the thing that kills my soul thinking about it.
That's the issues with early drafting is you run into the risk of ADPs moving, and a lot of times it works out in your favor, and a lot of times it doesn't.
AJ Brown didn't so far. I was really aggressive early this draft season on AJ Brown. It's
whereas a guy
like a good move. It's not a bad move. It's just like I'm going to be trumped every once in a while with some of these teams.
Whereas a guy like Ridley, on the flip side, could have gotten him, a little later, and now he's climbing up, towards that, 14, 15, 16 range. Okay, Miles Sanders goes off the board. So we're looking at Terry McLaurin,
we got 3 picks to our pick. Yep.
Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb, Allen Robinson would all be fine with me here. TJ Hawkinson I'd be fine with. And then after that, I don't think there's a running back in this range unless you wanted to go Chris Carson. It doesn't really seem like our kind of build, but Chris Carson would give us a little, I don't really want to go Carson, but I can understand people going Carson around this range.
No, and I bet 109 goes him here. Oh, he goes Mike Evans. So 109
a little bit higher than I thought.
A full, kind of zero RB team here, if you will. At least his first running back's going to be in the 4th round. I mean, I don't hate that. I would have assumed that was probably more of a landing spot for Carson. And to be honest, looking at teams 10, 11, and 12, probably not a bad bet that Carson gets back to them anyways. And they got, they locked up a wide receiver. Probably not a wide receiver you and I would have taken, Theo, but, they got a wide receiver.
So
God,
Montgomery goes.
310 with Montgomery. Theo, I'm feeling good about where we're at.
Now you are on the clock.
I've got some thoughts here.
So Terry McLaurin goes.
So McLaurin goes, and I'm happy about that, Theo, because I'm an F1 guy. I like McLaurin. Having said that, we already have Antonio Gibson in the door. I don't know if I'm ready for.
I'm not. That's probably a blessing in disguise, but McLaurin is great value here. So I'm of the opinion that I can go Hawkinson here, or I could potentially go Allen Robinson, CeeDee Lamb, and then I would throw out that we could go both Cowboys wide receivers and hope to set a Cowboys stack.
Oof. Now,
we'd
if we
be
weren't
rolling
live,
I'm in on the dice a little bit.
If we're not live, I'm in on that. Look, let me walk you off the Hawkinson. I think that we can find value later. I think you and I are liking some of these same wide receivers.
Let's lock up CeeDee Lamb.
Let's Lamb.
Okay.
Now you are on the clock.
I like A-Rob over Hawkinson here. I really do, and I feel great about our wide receiver core going Hill, Lamb, and Robinson. I think that we've got a lot of nice weekly floor plus the upside available to us as the season progresses.
I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
But you threw out the Hawk, so I don't want to. I don't want to run the show here. But I love A-Rob here in this spot.
So I think A-Rob's tremendous value. And I think we'll have another opportunity at potentially Noah Fant, who I'm also a fan of, or Dallas Goedert, down the line. So let's go ahead. We both like Allen Robinson.
Okay.
Let's take him right here. And I think that's a strong start for us. A lot of power on this team.
All right. So through 4 rounds for us, and God, I love the 12 spot when we're doing these live things. We just pay off FFPC to get us these 1 or 12 turns.
Certainly makes it easier to talk about our process.
Yeah, Hawk goes 402 right next. I don't know if they're listening live, but they certainly snagged some guy that we're thinking about. But our start: Tyreek Hill, Antonio Gibson, CeeDee Lamb, Allen Robinson. At this point, I feel great about our start. Like weekly lineup setting perspective, Theo. Look, let's try to make it as less drama as humanly possible. I think it's easy. We're starting 3 wide receivers and starting Gibson, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, I mean, Lamb we have 2 guys who we expect to make big jumps in their sophomore year, in Gibson and Lamb. And we have a foundational wide receiver in Tyreek Hill and a foundational wide receiver in Allen Robinson. So, our team is strong. It's got a lot of firepower. No real stack that I see. But other than that, I like the team. What do you expect to go in the rest of the 4th round? What are you expecting to see?
So before we get to that, Theo, I looked it up, and of course it's obvious now. The Jeff Z team, talked about it off the top. Jeff Z's in the 10 hole.
Yep.
So that start: Cam Akers, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, David Montgomery, Chris Carson. And so the interesting thing, Theo, and again, we don't know. I for the most part we know the names. I don't not talked to these guys in person.
So the only people I would say I know a couple guys in this draft, but I don't know him. I've never discussed strategy, but I if I'm to understand it, he wants to invest in most of his drafts. He wants to go extremely heavy at the running back position, thinking that he can, get waiver wire help at tight end and wide receiver, but he'll have such strong running backs, and he'll start 4 of them every week. I mean, it's not the craziest thing. I'm more of a balanced guy. I know you are too. But his builds certainly are extreme.
Well, I think what's interesting, Theo, and totally agree. Look, your team 9. Just a strategy question as we're talking through the draft. We got plenty of time, I think, before we need to start talking about our 5th round pick. Your team 9, right, Theo? You're doing Waller, Diggs, Evans. You're feeling great, but you're doing like a little bit of a 0 RB start. You're not going to take your first running back through 4 rounds, but you've got the infamous Jeff Z next to you in the 10 hole. So you go Evans, sending it away from you. There's 2 Jeff Z picks before it comes back to you. And Jeff Z, predictably, goes to running backs to dry up the board from you. So, I mean, our game 3 wise, and look, I know I'm putting you on the spot. That's why I'm vamping a little bit here. In anything that if you were in Team 9's perspective, what would you do differently? Would you do the same thing? Would you really think about this unusual build with Mike Evans here? Or would you maybe grab a running back knowing who you're drafting against?
It all depends on how he values Evans. Maybe he values Evans extremely high, and that was his ideal pick. I don't necessarily. I like the Travis Etienne pick he made. I know some people are split on Etienne. I'm pro Etienne right now, but yeah, it certainly kind of makes you think about, hey, this is not coming back to me because this guy's going to go a certain way for 8 straight rounds. So it's a little difficult drafting right next to him. We're 2 spots away, and we're going to kind of feel a little bit. But again, I like taking the value. I don't like having others kind of dictate what I'm doing.
Well, that's it. Because once you start letting others dictate, then you're just like, you're not even playing your own game at that point. And then, like we said, like he had a draft last night where he didn't do the strategy. So it's like you start playing these mental games in your head. You start doing these different things, and then he eventually pulls the chair out from under you. You feel like an idiot.
If you're worrying so much about the other guys in the league and not your own picks, then more likely than not, you're the stone or the rake.
That's it.
Building your own team is where your process needs to go. I know, we're not the last thing we think about doing. Me and you want to win leagues and win money. The last thing we think about doing is like blocking a stack just to, take one for the team. You know what I mean? You see that a little bit in these contests, which I understand if you're doing 50 entries, a couple stack blocks might not be the worst thing, but for the most part, I think it's just a concentrate on your own team, make the strongest build you can, and keep rolling with the punches.
Yeah, that's right.
I like that Jamar Chase pick right there. By Spearmint Rhinos has a nice team.
Yeah, agreed. Like what Two's doing. Two's doing that. The anchor RB or whatever he said at the top. The Dalvin Cook, and he's smashed 4 straight wide receivers. You
Very
like
similar build to ours.
Yep.
I'll take our Tyreek Hill over AJ Brown.
Yep.
But I like his build for sure. So coming back around to us now, I mean, we could look at, we could continue to hit another wide receiver here would not be the worst thing, kind of for what we're doing. I would not mind a top of the line quarterback here. What are your thoughts about the pick coming up?
Now, Theo, live drafting, I put somebody in the queue for you. This is such a JD move, and I can't wait to talk about it when we're up. I put somebody in the queue for you. I want you to take a look. I think it makes sense to me. I think it helps with our build, what we're doing. Would be interested to see if this particular player comes back to us, but I have been drafting him an absolute ton and saw that. Look, viewers and listeners, you guys are going to hate this. We're in the middle of the 5th round, Theo and I just like talking via like Q picks, but I like who you just added to the queue too. Out of the 12 spot, it fits my personality. I am a sociopath, a psychopath. I don't mind, getting a little loose with it. Balance is key. Balance is important. But I don't mind getting a little off-centered if I need to in order to push value from where I'm sitting at the 12 spot. So, I one of the players you just added, I know they're off the board now.
That was Tyler Lockett, who I've been taking an awful lot of in 5th and 6th rounds. He would have been a nice pick for us.
Yeah, good value there.
So just looking at the guys on the board, I like who you have queued up.
Yep, same.
Tight end wise, my guy Noah Fant went.
Yeah. I don't know if you're pushing that value up, Theo. But look,
I love Fant this year. I like Goddard a lot too. But I think Fant is just
in the 5th round, Theo, you and I would never have taken him. I don't think we would have taken Fant in the 5th round. There's no way.
I've taken him in the 6th, but the 5th, I usually have gone other ways.
Theo, so we're up. We've got 60 seconds. To me, Theo, I think the first pick is our easiest pick.
So the fact that Lamar just went, the run's coming. So I think we should do it. We're going to take Dak Prescott, but let's
we're going to take
time
Dak
a little bit and talk about the next guy.
Let's ruin the draft room a little bit. Everyone knows we're doing a live show, tweeted it out. So sorry, guys, we're going to sit on the clock for a little bit. So I think the next pick, Theo, needs to be, a wide receiver. I like doing 4 wide receivers. I know you have a tight end queued up. We can talk about that. You've got some options. I'm a Deontay Johnson guy. I'm a T. Higgins guy. I'm an Ayuk guy. You don't have those 3 guys queued up. You have another second-year wide receiver queued up. I'm going to smash that.
That was an accidental queue. I think that's a little early for the person I queued up. I'm actually going to remove him.
Okay.
So I think we should go.
One Dak now. So Dak has now been selected. So we've locked in a Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb stack. So I feel good about that. Are you thinking tight end here? Or are you thinking wide receiver?
So I think that Dallas Goedert makes some sense to us, and he's not to come back to us. We have our stack already locked up. Obviously the Deontay Johnson I think is a very high floor guy. He might help on kind of balance out our wide receivers because he's the kind of guy that's going to catch like 100 passes.
Yeah,
I don't mind Deontay Johnson.
30 seconds. I mean, not to put you under the gun. If this is me and I'm drafting alone, I'm probably drafting T. Higgins because I'm a T. Higgins freak. But if I like any of the 4 that are sitting in the queue. So who do you like the best?
15.
So I would like to lock up the tight end position with Dallas Goedert here.
Okay. Okay. I'm in there. Let's do that.
Let's take Dallas.
Let's do Dallas Goedert. So we've started Tyreek Hill, Antonio Gibson, CeeDee Lamb, Allen Robinson, Dak Prescott for the little mini Lamb stack, and then we got Dallas Goedert. And look, we're in the 12 spot, Theo. We just said it going into this pick, but we don't mind pushing the value. right? So if we need to grab a tight end such that we're not caught and on the butt end of a run, look, those are the kind of moves you have to do at the 12 spot. It's not the ideal position to be in, but I think it's the right move. You've locked in a tight end. You feel good about it. You know you can on week 1 you can put Dallas Goedert in the lineup. You don't have to feel bad about it. So I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like Goddard. Goddard and Fant are kind of like their own little tier to me.
Yeah.
They usually go close to one another. I like them more than Logan Thomas, who's kind of going to go pretty soon.
Yes.
And then after Logan Thomas, I think if once he goes, it's kind of like it's time to wait a little bit. There's a couple of other tight ends I've been hitting late, but you'll see a number of tight ends. You'll see Gesicki, you'll see Logan Thomas. A couple of those guys are going to go in the next couple of rounds. And I think Goddard, he could have a potentially, high target total. He's a very talented guy, and Ertz is going to be potentially out of the way. So I like what we did with Goddard and Dak there. I don't love having a tight end and a quarterback. Two guys in the tight end and the quarterback position go in our first 6 rounds. As a general strategy, but for this build, I don't mind it at all because we got our
look. We're in a sharp room. We're in a sharp room. You gotta, balance is key. Pushing value is key. Having somebody on the board and not getting caught on the butt end of a run. I think that we've done a good job locking up a quarterback. We've locked up a number 1 tight end that we can feel good about week 1. Now I feel like we can start hammering the positions that we want to if the value falls, if there's players that you and I like. I think that we've been pretty aligned, especially on that second tight end. I know from some of your other GOAT District content, from our DMs, from our Triflexing team, you and I are pretty aligned in terms of our next tight ends. Yeah. So I feel good about having Goddard on the board.
I took Goddard last week as well. I lean Fant ahead of Goddard, but I'm not as high volume as some guys, but I'm high volume enough as you are. I don't want to be too all in on Fant. I want to have some Goddard as well. But I like both of those guys. I think they both have the high ceilings potentially, and it works well for our build. And I really like our team the way it's looking so far, especially out of the 12 spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're starting to see all the receivers that we like: the T. Higgins, Chase Claypool, Brandon Ayuk, Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson. They're all going. I'd expect Kenny Golladay to go in the next couple of picks. Justin Herbert just goes.
Yeah, and I've gone ahead and, Theo, I've added some of our tight ends that I think that we're interested to the board. No particular order, just to make sure that we've got them on the board. So we can see as that queue kind of starts to dwindle down, we can kind of make our move. And I don't think that move is going to be anywhere in the next, 6 rounds or so, but just to have those up and available.
Yep. And I think that, coming back around on the next picks, I'd like to concentrate on running back and wide receiver.
Yeah,
I think we're going to get a number of guys we like. I think a number of guys we like are going to be here.
Absolutely. And look, I'm going to fight you through the StreamYard, Theo. I'm a 1 quarterback guy, especially, we drafted Dak Prescott early. We got the stack. You would have to do a ton of convincing to get me to agree, like, oh yeah, we got to grab a Trey Lance in the 14th. Because I just, over the summer months, Theo, like my number 1 thing is like, let's have the upside sitting in the running back wide receiver position. There's a waiver run before week 1. If Dak Prescott gets hurt, there's an injury setback, so be it. We can figure that out.
The only devil's advocate, I'm okay going naked QB with only one guy, when it's a Mahomes or a Kyler Murray in this tier. But the one thing that's concerning about Dak Prescott is he has a week 7 bye, which, it's I don't necessarily like having to depend on the waiver wire for an important week 7. So I'm not opposed to taking a second quarterback, but it would have to be like you said, after the 15th round.
Oh yeah,
It would be a value type thing.
Yep.
I'll throw out Justin Fields as a guy to consider, because we have Allen Robinson. We could potentially set up a second stack.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we're starting to see, there goes 2 more tight ends, Tyler Higbee and Logan Thomas. Then Cortland Sutton and Robbie Anderson off the board.
And I think part of this, right, Theo, is like, too, like, look, there's going to be some value pockets. And as I said, like, left to my own devices, I'm probably grabbing T. Higgins. I'm probably going to end up being overweight, left to my own devices. It's just why I partnered up with you, right? So that way I don't keep drafting T. Higgins. But I think that we're going to be really happy with the pocket we've allowed ourselves to be in, right? Because, we're going to be able to come to the 7-8 turn and feel good about taking a wide receiver running back here. And I think that was the most important thing from a strategy perspective is feeling good about being open to that, the value we're going to have available to us.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that by our balanced approach in the early rounds, it opens us up to take whoever we really want coming up. And I know we love hitting running back and wide receiver, and we don't really have to feel pressured to do either. And I know that both of us kind of have a strategy that we don't mind punting the RB2 position. I think there's a lot of words for it, but it really is. That's what the old timers call it. Just punting RB2. You can call it anchor RB or modified zero, whatever you want to call it. But it's essentially, we don't value the RB2 as much as some drafters. And I've gone both ways. I like having two strong running backs to start a draft, sometimes 3 strong running backs to start a draft. But I don't mind doing this strategy either, where it's Antonio Gibson and whoever the hell at the RB2 spot week 1.
Yep, agreed.
So we're starting to see the queue dry up a little bit. Coming up here, I have one guy queued up, which I feel like would be really good.
I think that the guy you have queued up, I think, is a smash pick. I'm all in. I would have loved. So 709, 710 went Tony Pollard, Devonta Smith. I loved both of those guys. I would have said that, like, if they were available at our pick, I would have taken them. Would have loved that. I don't even mind like the Dak Lamb Pollard. I'm just in on the Cowboys, and I don't mind getting in at the Tony Pollard issue. I know that you and I did that on our triflexing.
Now you are on the clock.
We're
okay. So the player we want to take, want to take Jerry Jeudy here. Let's give ourselves a little time for the comeback.
Yeah,
I like Jerry Jeudy a lot.
We're sitting here, Theo. I think we're gonna take Jerry Jeudy. Let's talk about the next pick. I don't love the running backs available. I know Michael Carter went, Tony Pollard went. I don't think that either of us were on Mostert, but that Carter Pollard picks in the 7th round, we had our eyes on them. My gut says continue punting and let's find a wide receiver that we also like here. I got my eyes, I think, on let me add them to the queue. Add 2 to the queue actually, just to have them in there. I like either of these 2 guys next after Jeudy, but wanted to get your thoughts because we're gonna let me grab Jeudy here. We got 15 seconds because right now we've got 4 wide receivers. We know we can fill up our 2 wide receiver spots, our 2 flex spots. We're able to fill quarterback. We're able to fill tight end. Maybe we punt RB2. Do you want to get another stud or potential high upside stud wide receiver here? Sorry about that.
So
I added 2 to the queue.
The 2 guys you have queued up are fine. It's sort of a little bit of a dead zone here in terms of what we need. Again, I'm with you. I don't love any of the running backs here. I feel like it would be more of a out of necessity type move,
and I don't want to do that. Yep.
So I would like to go with Debo here.
Okay.
I'm with you. I'm Team Ayuk, but I think that there's a chance Debo leads them. We can talk about that after our pick. So why don't you lock up Debo?
You want me to lock in Debo here?
Lock him up.
I like that. Yep. So we went at the turn. We went Jeudy and Debo Samuel. We're still punting that RB2 spot. So I feel great about this. This is going to give us great options throughout the season. Because I think that push comes to shove, we want to have 2 wide receivers. And then, I guess starting 4 wide receivers in a given week.
Yeah. So, Debo is a guy that I think they're going to kind of manufacture touches for whenever he's healthy. He's a very, very low ADOT guy, but he also can have very big weeks. And I'm interested to see him with Trey Lance. I'm betting on Brandon Ayuk, but I'm willing to bet on the fact that I might be wrong. And I think where we're getting Debo is very good value.
Yeah, I got 2 dynasty teams where I've got Ayuk and Debo. And I, probably should move off of one of them, but for right now in the summertime, I'm just gonna sit on both and see what happens. I like Debo a lot. I do.
Yeah. So this team has some firepower potentially, and Debo really right now is on the bench. So we have the 4 wide receivers and Debo as our 5th. We're very strong at wideout right now. And the good thing about this build is it's sort of an upside down build where we don't really have to worry about receiver in the second half of the draft so much. We'll take it as it comes to us, but we've really got you could in an FFPC build, we could potentially stop drafting wide receivers right now, which of course we won't because we love wideouts. But
just addicted to them.
Yeah. We're both very big wide receiver drafters, so we'll take a couple more shots, but we've kind of built our core here. So looking at the draft board, Leonard Fournette goes. Jeff Z went wide receiver, and I don't hate what he did. He got Devonta Smith and Laviska Shenault, upside
two
guys.
wide receivers. If Devonta had been there, I think that we would have taken him and not even thought about it. Yeah.
So I'm very big on Devonta Smith. We had a GOAT district the other night with Dwayne McFarland, and that was one of the wide receivers that he mentioned as a guy who, not Stephon Diggs like, but kind of like that could be tremendous volume, high target share guy, and a smash value in the 7th round. So I'm a big Devonta Smith guy. I know you are too, and I like where he got him there. But Judy is. To me, I'm starting to lean in the Judy over Sutton camp, especially if it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater. Sutton has all the physical traits. He's shown it. But if it's Teddy Bridgewater, I think Judy is going to get peppered with targets. Judy had the draft capital. He was the 2nd wide receiver off the board last year. And I think he's getting overlooked just a little bit. I think his ADP could actually rise a little bit as the summer keeps going. I think he'll be going higher than where we got him when August comes around. What do you think?
Oh, totally agree. And I give yourself some credit because Theo, I think it was you who it sticks out very clear in my mind. I think it was probably in March, maybe even February. You had this beautiful retweet. So obviously it came from I think somebody else, but it was just hey, who is the ADOT monster that who's the hidden air yards king of 2020? And it was Jerry Jeudy. I think that you must have just sat there for a week straight, retweet on a timeline. Okay, give it 24 hours. Retweet back on a timeline. Okay, everyone's discounting Jerry Jeudy. Retweet back on the timeline. And I think that you were all over the Jerry Jeudy, he's sneaky play here.
Yeah,
Judy
was actually going lower when those crazy early drafts started. He was going lower than this, and the market keeps correcting itself. But apparently he's shining out in mini camps, and he's Teddy Bridgewater's favorite target. So we're hoping for Teddy Bridgewater there, and no Drew Lock. And if it's Aaron Rodgers, then we got him 2 rounds lower than he'll be. So I'm pleased with that. So we're starting to see the next tier of running backs go. Gus Edwards goes, James Conner, Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, Damian Harris, Ronald Jones. All of those guys are. I took Damian Harris recently in a draft, kind of out of necessity. I was a zero RB build, and I just don't like it. I never like getting him. He's got such low touchdown upside with Cam in there. Antonio Brown goes. We see another wide receiver go.
Yeah, Damian Harris is just in the 8th round is that dreaded over the pants hand job that we were talking about. Oh, just does. I guess it's something, but it's certainly not much.
Yeah,
and probably more mess than it's worth. So I'm out on Damian Harris in the 8th round there. Go ahead.
Damian Harris to me is you're never excited about getting him. He'll have a lot of those kind of purgatory weeks where he's going to get you 75 yards on the ground, and you'll be hoping for a touchdown. If he falls in the end zone, you're happy. But more likely than not, it's Cam Newton taking that touchdown. And I worry a little bit about Ramondre Stevenson becoming a thing. So I don't know. I'm not into it. Gus Edwards, I don't know. He's the whole value there. I'm not so sure of. I get it,
Theo,
but
for a second, I was worried that you were going to argue with me about Damien Harris being more than an over the pants hand job. I thought you were going to give me like a new tier of like what kind of
I think
sexual
that
act he was, and I just like
I
I don't have the energy to argue about what kind of sexual act he was. So I was
it's you've taken it past PG-13. You've taken the district past PG-13. But other than that, it's a great analogy. You're never excited about it. No. Curtis Samuel goes, Irv Smith. So like we said, the tight ends are starting to dry up a little bit. Irv, Gesicki. I thought Evan Ingram, that's a little early for him. Logan Thomas, Tyler Higbee. Zach Moss just goes off the board. So coming up for us.
Yeah, look, and I love people making decisions for me. Nobody's a better decision maker than other people. I love that they're drying up some of this running back tier to kind of like let me determine like what the best options are. I added a couple players to the queue here, Theo. Interested in your take. We don't know if we need to talk about them out loud necessarily.
No, so I'm okay with that, but I just added a running back into the queue, which I feel like would be a very, very strong pick for us here.
Yeah, I'm okay here, especially where we're at. I mean, look, a couple, call it 6 or 7 in the rank, if you will. Would love to grab one of those. I don't mind 8, 9, or 10 either.
I'm a big fan of kind of 8, 9, 10 here.
Okay.
9, I feel like almost it's more of just a traditional handcuff. I think the other 2 are going to be able to give us, kind of weekly floors.
Week 1, like week
1 type guys.
Eventually,
we need to consider that.
We're going to have to field a roster in week 1, whether we like it or not.
So I will say you have one wide receiver queued up that I love, but I think it might be a little early. The other one that you have queued up would fit this build quite well.
So 6 fits the build. 7 is early, but I don't think he comes back to us. So I think that we do one of 6 or 7 and one of 8, 9, 10. And we can only do 6 now. So
somebody sniped us on our Gallup. We wanted to have a real stack. Let's so we want to take Kenyon Drake here, who's a player that I'm warming up to. I think that this is great value for him. I think he'll have a role in Las Vegas. The next pick.
Let's talk a little bit. So do we've got 5 wide receivers. We're only going to have 2 running backs after this pick. Do we want to go who our 6s, or is there another running or wide receiver that you like? Obviously there's a couple of guys here.
So I don't hate Hollywood Brown here.
Available. Yeah. That's easy for me to get convinced of. So let me go ahead and take Drake in a minute.
Take Drake.
15 seconds left.
And then, I don't mind taking one of these running backs. We would get it locked up. I know that, the wide receiver you have queued up is kind of a luxury pick. Both those guys would be luxury picks.
It would be.
The only issue with avoiding running back here is we could end up getting completely dried out in the next, 23 picks.
Sure.
I'm of the opinion that we should probably go running back. But if you want to go Hollywood Brown here, I'm okay with that. If you want to go, the player
queue guy,
Moore.
The guy in the queue.
Yeah, I think that the move would more likely be one of the 2 running backs we have.
All right, who's your favorite here?
So I don't love it, but because I'm a Swift guy, but I think Jamal Williams here is fine to grab.
Okay,
it's not as exciting as AJ Dillon, but I think it's going to give us something. Let's take Jamal.
I locked it in. I took a look at the bye weeks. We've got a conflicting bye week with Gibson, but I think that we sorted out well enough in advance of that, and it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean,
so we went Drake and Jamal Williams there at the turn.
I'm not like standing on my head for either pick, but I think they're both very useful players for us. And if anything happened to DeAndre Swift or Josh Jacobs, then both those guys would be, top 15 plays weekly. I think that Drake could end up being a thing this year. I've been trying to get some Drake. I think he's going to get all the running back targets. We've seen guys like Jalen Richard have success, with their, as a dig and dunk guy. But Kenyon Drake had double-digit touchdowns last year, and I think that, he could outscore Jacobs this year. I wouldn't bet on it, but I think he could. And they certainly gave him a lot of money. And I know the argument is that it's a terrible organization. You can't put any clout into, what they spend their money on, which I think is just the cheapest argument ever. If you're spending this much money, you want to feature a guy because you want to look smart. So I think they'll give Kenyon Drake every chance to succeed. And I'm happy. I'm happy with Drake. And Williams is just like, I don't think anybody would call him a very talented guy. I mean, I think he's not a bad football player, but he could be a compiler type guy where he's going to get some use. He could be a 10-point per game guy. And, again, like we said, if Swift misses time like he did last year for a few games, Williams is going to be super, super useful. So, we don't love the running backs, but we don't want to come back, at the 11-12 having to take, a bunch of scrap heap guys.
Yeah, no, I think that's perfect. I think that there's going to be a lot of guys that go here in like the 10, 11, 12. And they're, with the way the draft is gone, there's no guarantee they absolutely get back to us. Yep. So I love that idea. There's some level of quick vindication here, some level that the 10:02 David Johnson went, and at the 10:0 math, 10:06 Darrell Henderson goes, 10:07 AJ Dillon goes. So it feels good that we double tapped at that turn, the running back. I flashed up on the screen, JD, obviously listening in here, love that because of how he's seeing the board. And again, you're seeing the board. You're either listening live here on a YouTube stream, or you're listening after the fact, and we can post the board along with the podcast link. But JD's listening, and he's seeing a lot of wide receiver builds here when staring at the board. So he liked that running back double tap there.
Yeah, and it's kind of an odd time in the draft. Like what I've been seeing is like rounds 8 through 11, a lot of running backs just dry up, and then after you get to after through round 11, it's like you're just throwing darts essentially. It's a lot of true handcuffs. I think that's one thing that could be a takeaway for people listening. If you're going to go with a 0 RB build or a modified 0 like we did, you don't want to have your running back 2 or your running back 3 be guys that are, either they're 15 points a game or they're 0 guys. They're just like, true handcuffs. I think you want these, you want to mix in some satellite backs and some guys.
Yeah.
Like the Damian, to get I know, it's not a Damian Harris type, a guy who's going to get you 10 points that you can get through the week with. And then, we're obviously going to be hitting the waiver wire for running backs with this team.
Yeah, now, the G-rated version of it all, the OTPHJ, Damian Harris.
There you go.
No, so the board looks good here. I think especially what we've done, Theo. I mean, round 10, we feel good about all these running backs, tight ends, and quarterbacks coming off the board. Feels great.
Yeah, it feels great is right. And then I'll say that you have one guy, one tight end queued up, actually in the number 1 spot for us, which.
Yep, agreed.
Which I think would be a really nice pick for us coming around. A nice balance with Goddard. So hopefully he's here. And then after that, our queue is dried up a little bit. I think it's time to kind of throw a couple guys in here.
It did. There's one guy that you added.
So I'm really big on Lat Murray this year.
Yep.
I've added him on a number of teams. I think that he's very undervalued now. I mean, the way people treat AJ Dillon and Tony Pollard, they should kind of consider Lat Murray, because if Kamara misses time, Lat Murray's a league winner, and he might have a little bit of a role if it's a Taysom Hill offense and they go a little more run heavy. I think if Taysom Hill wins that job, I think the offense could change a little bit and Murray could be a beneficiary. And I think he's just a good player. So when I see him in the 10th round, I've been grabbing him. And we love Nyheim Hines. We have Hines on our 1250 team, and he's good.
Yeah. I mean, what I love about our triflexing team is it's like all these like running backs that I just always end up overdrafting, and that 7 through 12 spots. Like, oh yeah, it's like there's Pollard, there's Hines. Like it's just me like just smashing like Pollard, Hines on every single team. And of course, just, I love having them on our triflexing team.
Yeah,
that feels good there.
That's the beauty of Dynasty is we were able to move up and down the board how we wanted to, and we also happened to get Najee Harris before he was drafted to Pittsburgh, which is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So Madison goes. So our queue is really drying up for running backs. I'm happy we went running back.
Yeah, agreed.
Sometimes the picks you make begrudgingly are the correct picks.
Which back to the triflex, and Tony Pollard certainly was. I was pissed about that Tony Pollard pick in the moment, or almost like immediately after. And of course, the guy I was pissed off at losing him for just went here at the 11:06. Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore was the pick at that 9-10 turn that I was, that pit in my stomach told me luxury. I know we went double tap running back. So again, Elijah Moore slips through my fingers. But that's okay. I feel good about our build. But Elijah Moore was definitely that pick that I was gonna or angling for. There. We're up in a couple picks here, Theo. Our queue is dried up. So let's hope for the best here. But I like where we're at in the queue, actually. You've added a couple more here. I like 1 and 3 if you're looking at it. We can talk about those.
One seems like a no-brainer for us if he's there.
Agreed.
I don't think we overthink that one. I think we take him if he's there.
I don't mind being early on 3 though, and I know that is early. I know that's early.
Well, I love him. I think he's great.
Yep.
I think 4 might be 4 is the same, and then 5. We might as well just talk about it at this point. We're hoping that Adam Troutman falls to us here at the 11-12.
Yep.
And we're going to take
Theo. You saying that's going to be the greatest testament to what our live listeners are thinking and hearing. We'll see if we get sniped on account of saying that out loud.
Yeah, if we do, I'm going to be quiet the rest of the show.
No. I was going to say, if you do snipe us on that, smash the like button. Tell us you're listening.
There you go.
Comment on the YouTube. Yeah. Let us know you're listening. Smash that like button. We did get sniped. I knew it, Theo. That's all right.
He did it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Jesse got
no reason to I'm trying to look at I'll throw one other guy in there.
Well, I don't mind at this point if we're just getting sniped. And hey, this is great. We're gonna learn for live show purposes. I don't mind 1 and 2 now. I don't mind being early on sort of both of them.
So I don't want to go 1. I have some reservations for 1.
Okay. Okay.
I would prefer 5 to 1, even though it's a little more vanilla. Okay, so Jared Cook just goes.
Okay.
So
hold on. Let's talk about this. Should we go 2-3? Do we even need to go 5? Should we go 2-3?
I don't mind going 2-3. 2-3 it's aggressive, and we're not really as balanced. We would continue building on the wide receiver position. 4 is one I'd consider as well here. He's kind of growing in my eyes, and I think he's one of the last kind of running backs I'd like in this range.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you? So why don't you want to get a wide receiver here, and I'm okay with that.
Definitely.
So
definitely.
Do you want to go 2 or 3?
I'm gonna take 2 for sure.
Okay. So we're gonna go Rondale Moore, who we're
gonna go Rondale Moore for sure. So we've locked that in. Now I've added now our 5th in the queue. This is just riveting listening for the listeners, and that's okay. I've added number 5, and I think we get 5 on our next pick. I think. So
I think so. I'm not as excited about him. I kind of think we should go.
3. I'm 3 or 4. I'm 3 or 4.
I think we go 4. I think we go 4 here, and it sets up a potential second stack.
Yep.
So it might be a little early, but I think we could go with let's go with 4 and
let's go. We're gonna lock it up. We're gonna go Cole Kmet here. We wanted Adam Troutman. We said it on the live feed. We have no idea if Jeff Z is listening or not, but if he is, we said it. You gotta smash the like button.
I will say we were discussing Devonta Smith, and I think he actually no, I take that back. I think
No, we didn't release
Troutman
the
makes sense
Devonta
for his
Smith.
build. Troutman makes sense for his build. Troutman was a good pick for him. He didn't have a
Yep.
tight end.
Yep.
Now Kmet, I'm not as high on as Troutman, but I think that Kmet is definitely going to be a useful player in the FFPC this year. He's got a clear role in Chicago, and we already are invested in Chicago with Allen Robinson. And again, this sets up a potential stack. And we had discussed getting Mooney, and he was taken before we had a chance to get him. But I think we both would have considered Mooney.
Mooney, Elijah Moore. We would have done Elijah Moore, Mooney, and if Elijah Moore or Mooney was available along with that at the turn, I would have said Moore. I would say grab the Moore brothers, grab the Moo brothers. I guess if I'm looking at their first three letters, grab a Moore, grab a Mooney, grab another Moore. Do something at that turn. I probably would have thought a little bit more on the double wide receiver. Again, I don't mind being aggressive there just to make sure that we're strengthening the strength that we already have, which is the wide receiver build. But look, they were gone. I'm happy with the Rondale Cole Kmet combo there.
Yeah, I think that's strong.
Theo, I'm looking at the draft board. Team 4. Let me mess around for a little bit just to give you time to look at Team 4 here. They went Kelsey, Chubb, Dobbins, Andrews, Hunt, and then I'm gonna skip a couple picks. And then they went Hunt and Edwards. And what I want to take a look at here is, they went double tight end. Then they went Chubb Hunt. Then they went Dobbins Edwards. And then, in fact, not only did they go Dobbins Edwards, as I mentioned, one of those two tight ends is Mark Andrews. So they've got a lot of kind of, call it handcuffing plus, if you will, plus a unique Kelsey Andrews build, or more unique Kelsey Andrews build. What do you think of that team? Is that limiting any upside that you're seeing? What's your perspective on that team as you're looking at? Because I would say that's the most, at least like unique, that's catching my eye as I'm staring at the board here.
Well, shout out to Todd from PA. He pointed out that the win rates were very low on teams that tried to double up on the Cleveland backs, and they were actually low on teams that took the Cleveland backs. So I would not double up with the Cleveland backs. I think there's something to be said with Dobbins Edwards. I don't mind that combination. You're using less draft capital and
to get it. Yeah.
And there's no Ingram this year. So you're getting two clear pieces to an offense that we're very bullish on. I would not go Chubb Hunt. I would have just stick with Chubb, but I don't mind the Dobbins Edwards. We could talk for an hour about handcuffing, but I think when you handcuff good situations like Baltimore, it's not the worst play. Again, a lot of people would not love the using two top 10 picks on guys from the same backfield. People are just not going to do it. I don't like an Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon combo, for instance. I don't like if you're going to take Zeke, it's you're really putting a lot into it if you take Pollard in the 8th and Zeke in the top, 7 picks. So there's situations where you can do it. I would not do James Robinson, Travis Etienne. I've seen people make that mistake a couple times. Yeah. I mean, you're never going to start both of them. If you start both of them, you're running into problems. So yeah, it's an interesting build what he did. Let's put it like that.
Yeah. No, and I think, and again, I should probably have looked at the stack finder on fantasymojo.com. Everyone should go subscribe on fantasymojo.com. I would say Kelsey Andrews alone is, again, I use the word probably more unique. There's probably combinations out there. I think if you're going to do that, you're already looking at some high upside. So if you're playing that, and let me post this comment from JD here. If you're going to go for higher upside, more unique builds, then why cap it at all by doing some of these double handcuffs? So I would just say that from my perspective, and again, that's a sharp drafter. So there's probably some reasons. Probably high volume, but would just say personal preference. Maybe if you're going to do a single bullet, one shot at this thing, I would suggest probably not going for that double handcuff move.
Yeah,
if you're a fellow drafter in here.
No, I would agree with you on that one. And JD makes great points. I mean, you want high upside builds. It does absolutely nothing for you in a format like this to finish 4th. It's actually just frustrating. So you want to be in the top 2 scoring. Have a top 2 record. You want to be able to get into that tournament. The tournament is everything, and you know, you want to be willing to finish last to finish first. I guess you could kind of put it like that.
Yeah.
So Gainwell goes. That was a guy we had queued up. I've been drafting a lot of Gainwell. I think he's underrated right now, and he seems like the kind of guy that will rise up as the summer moves along. All he needs is a couple of positive vibes out of camp, and I think people will start drafting him in like the 11th round. So I'm disappointed to see him go. Ruggs goes, Penny goes. So coming up,
yeah, we're up in 4 picks.
Yeah,
I've added some guys to the queue. Ugh.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
my
gross
reaction.
time. It's a gross time. I like
so
I like number 3 a lot. I know we keep going back to the well,
yeah.
but he's the best player on the board right here.
Hey, you don't have to do much to convince me of that guy. I love him. I probably like him too much. I guess I shouldn't say love. Love is stupid here. But I live in the extremes. I either love something or hate something. So I'm just going to stick with it. The record stands as called. I love player in the 3rd queue.
So
Theo,
I will say it seems like a good time to take number 1 if he's still there.
Yep. Easy convincing of that one. I love 5 and 6 too.
Okay, so that makes we were on Jalen Reagor. He just got selected.
Yeah.
So we had him as our guy we just referred to as 1. I think Reagor is a great value here. I would take him in the 11th round, and went 13th here. So I think that right now, I don't mind taking number 2 and number 1 and just going back to back. Okay, so
a 1-2 double tap, and if we do that, Theo, here's my plea to you. I'm out. Tap me out of running backs.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think
I just think we smash wide receivers the rest of the draft if we do 1-2 here. Double tap.
I'm okay with that, and I think we look at maybe completing our stack. So let's go with it. We like Ramondre Stevenson. We already we talked about Ramondre. Eating into Damian Harris's load. He's a big back. He could be very effective around the goal line. And then the back that's coming up is that I've kind of been taking a little bit is we're going to go Darrington Evans. He's a little bit post type. So do you like Evans as well this year, or it was more a positional scarcity play?
No. I like it. It's going to be one of those things where like this is like a classic. I shouldn't even said like it's gonna be like we're sitting here and be like, hey, who's the cuff to Christian McCaffrey, right? And everyone's drafting, name your idiot. It was the guy from Florida, and of course, like now I can't remember that idiot's name, but of course, like everyone was like off of Mike Davis, and I think that you've been called attention to this, Theo. And it's like we're maybe we're gonna get it right, maybe it was Evans. I don't mind though. We're sitting here in late June. I don't mind having Evans on the roster just to have what I think is, potentially the cuff to, Derrick Henry. And look, maybe we get smarter. There's obviously a waiver run before week 1. If it's not Evans, if it's, somebody else, we can always pivot to that and be aggressive on the waiver wire. But I like, again, having that upside over the summer months. Evans is definitely a target here where we're at in the 14th round.
So I'm an Evans guy. Evans was working before the Julio trade. Shout out to Dan Williamson for pointing this out. Evans was working with the wide receivers in minicamp, so they value Evans' receiving ability. Evans was extremely productive at Appalachian State, and if you'll recall, last year in football, guys, he was kind of a sexy, 16th round. He was going about the same spot that he's going in here.
He was a classic, he was like Eno Benjamin, LaMichael Pirine guy.
100%. Like people, there were truthers, but Evans. The one thing Evans has is he has draft capital. He was a day 2 pick last year for Tennessee, so for us to get him here, I like it. I've seen some other sharp people on Evans, and I'm going to continue to take shots on him. And like you said, this is June. We're not going to end up keeping every single guy we draft tonight. That first waiver wire run happens. We're going to be active on it. And if we miss, we miss. But I think he's the kind of guy that could be productive here. And also, knock on wood, because I have a lot of them. Henry's been, very fortunate with, the pounding that he's taken the last 2 seasons. He hasn't missed anything. And I hope he doesn't miss even a quarter because I have a lot of them in Dynasty.
Yeah.
But if he did, Darrington
Yeah.
Evans would be a 65% fab guy. You'd have to spend 60% of your fab to pick him up if he was on the wire. So, he's the second back in Tennessee to me, in a different way than Henry. He's, again, more of a receiver, smaller guy, but I like him. So Trey Lance goes. Your dream is dead for getting Trey. I know you always have your eye on him.
Theo, I don't think that you and I. Well, maybe we should do just a million more of these things, right?
Yeah, I think we should do. We should do this like every 3 days at this point.
Yeah,
because this has been such a blast.
Do you think you and I will ever be able to connect on a Trey Lance draft pick? Because I don't think so. I don't think it's destined to be. I think that the drafts that we've done and we've talked about, we haven't been able to connect on a Trey Lance pick yet. But
we don't have Trey together. I have Trey on a couple of teams now, and I know you have Trey on a couple of teams now. Yes. We don't have a team that we share with Trey. We're both very bullish on Trey. I think as soon as he takes over, he's a top 12 play every week, and I think it's only a matter of time before he takes over.
Yeah. Hey, JD, how are les habitants doing? Was that good? Was that a good French accent? Les habitants. Anyways, are the Habs winning, losing? Somebody give us a score update. What are the Habs doing? They just won in overtime. Stanley Cup, baby. First time since 93. Let's go.
NHL for you there. There you go.
Yeah, well, and that was talking NHL.
Mixing a little hockey for the first time ever on the Go District.
Yeah. JD's distracting me. He's telling me he's distracted by John McGlynn, which of course distracts me, and then I'm just ADD over here, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Now, look at this. This is great. Oh, little hockey action. All right, so Theo,
I'm just throwing. I know you don't like what the guys I'm throwing in the queue. I just want, for discussion's sake, I'm throwing a couple of running backs. I don't want to make you disgusted.
And
I know
I don't want to be disgusted.
All right, let's see who else. It just goes to show you as well, most of the wide receivers left are kind of, there's a lot of dart throws people are going to start taking. So for us to take our wide receivers early, I think we're at a clear advantage. Us and Team 7, I think, and Team 2.
Yeah.
There's about 3 teams that are very strong at wide receiver in this league. I'm happy having the Hill, Lamb, Robinson every single week. Okay, so Pirine just goes, another running back who I've been trying to add and I had queued.
We did.
Hayden Hurst is starting to creep up a little bit. He's going in every 14th and 15th round.
The one that I found interesting, I like Team 1. Team 1's drafted a lot of players that I like. I like OJ Howard. Of course, I am the same man who brought you 4th and 5th round OJ Howard back in 2019. So I just, hand up in the air. That was stupid. Having said that, 15th round OJ Howard in 2021, it feels a lot sexier. I like OJ Howard there. So that was an interesting tight end pick. He definitely would have been on my mind here at the 15-16 turn.
So I don't mind doubling up with Gronk and OJ Howard at this point in the summer. If you're going to go with it, both guys are going at a position where it's not going to hurt you. And I think there's a chance that it's some weeks it's Gronk and some weeks it's Howard, and it's frustrating. But, Gronk misses time. OJ looks good. Gronk comes back. Maybe you put OJ on the bench and Gronk is the guy. I think you could kind of get by with that in this format. I don't know if I'd want that to be my tight end 1, but as a tight end 2, I wouldn't mind carrying both of those guys.
Yeah. So Theo, we're up and we're up. What do you think about?
I think we take the second stack. I think we've built a.
Okay.
I think we're gonna go. I think we should go Justin Fields here, and and I know we don't love it, but if there's a chance that he catches fire, we'll have Robinson, Kmet, and Justin Fields.
Okay, so I'm gonna sit on that pick just for a second, because we're gonna double tap here. So I think we've got a queue loaded. I'm a big number 1 guy, but I can also be seduced easily by training camp photos. I'm a number 1 guy. Is there another draft pick that you like over who I have number 1 in the queue here?
I kind of lean number 2 over number 1, but I'm not in love with either of them.
Okay.
It's kind of a, it's an odd part of the draft.
Now you are on the clock.
So we got Justin Fields. I think there's a chance that your number 1 is going to be there next time we pick as well. I don't think it's some guy.
I got to be honest with you, Theo. Hold on. I think that every single time. And whenever I'm in the drafts, somehow he always goes in like the 14th round. And when I'm not in the drafts, he's always like, sitting there as a free agent, which like I don't understand at all. But if anyways, be that as it may, we're talking wide receivers here. Do you have a preference? You like 2 over 1?
So I like 2 over 1, but I'm gonna suggest we pivot to a running back. There's 2 guys, number 8 and number 10. I think that there's a chance that 8 and 10 might be worth a lot by the end of the summer. I don't mind taking number 10 right now, or I'd go number 2. It's up to you.
All right, let me go number 2 here.
Okay, so you get your guy. You get your guy. So we
went
Tre'Quan
Smith here at that 1601. Maybe somebody has to catch passes in New Orleans. We'll see.
No, I mean right now he looks like he should be the wide receiver 2 there, and they're talking him up. It's fine value. I don't love getting him, but I understand him being here. And I do think maybe adding one more running back is not the worst move. We also need to start talking about kickers and defenses, and start queuing up a couple of them. I don't mind. Do you find yourself taking your kicker and defense in the 19th and 20th, or are you kind of a guy lately that has been, maybe you see a Washington or a Rams or maybe a Tampa Bay and you might take them a little early?
I'm 19 and 20. I'd like to have, my late round flyers. I'm conceited in that way. Maybe I think I'm better than most and I'm not. But I just like taking my guys and having them on the board. And then, I'm a big streamer. I don't mind just doing what I can, figuring out the matchups. And, if I catch fire, then I'm happy with that kicker defense. I will tell you, especially in the FFPC format, defense, there's no negative points for defensive performance. Once they score that 15th point, I think it is, you're at a 0. And so like to me, my perspective is it's not going to kill me. I'm not going to get murdered. And then outside of that, from a defense, I actually like offenses who are high tempo, who are going to, have high scoring games to get the, ball back in the defense's hand, or I guess the other offense's hands, if you will, such that, the more my defense is on the field, the more we can get sacks, the more we can maybe get turnovers. Because, today's NFL, most teams are scoring over that 15th point, fairly easily. So at least that's my perspective in FFPC. I know, Dan Williamson, for example, is much smarter and sharper than me about picking that right defense, who maybe is low scoring as well. But that's just my perspective.
Yeah, so I could kind of go both ways on this. I think,
and shit, hold on, Theo. I tell you, I'm in the draft. I'm in the draft, and the guy's taken, and I'm not in the draft. He's undrafted. Brian Edwards at the 1607. There was the guy that I'm always interested in. But nevertheless, go ahead, Theo. I cut you off, of course.
No, so I was going to say the devil's advocate is, if you have an elite defense, you don't have to play the waiver wire at all for defenses. So when you get into streaming defenses, it just becomes more of kind of an annoying thing where you're having to, and again, you're not using a whole lot of fab, but you're using a little, $3 here, $2 there for a defense. So if I have a chance this year and I see, Washington or LA, Pittsburgh, Tampa, these kind of defenses that we assume will be in the top, 6 or 7, if not 1 overall. I'm not opposed to taking them. I'm never going to reach, but if it gets to be like, Washington in the 14th round, I think that seems about right. We went Darrington Evans. If we went Washington instead, I don't think it would have killed our build and we would have defense locked up. So I could go both ways on that.
I'm just so
I know
stunned.
you're never going to get Brian Edwards. I mean, it's just the curse.
I got to take him. It's like if I'm in the 15th or 16th, it's like I got to take him, or I just have to like say to myself, well, I'm not getting him in this draft. He's the kind of high upside guy, Brian Edwards, that I love to bet on in this type of draft. Look, maybe that guy sucks, but the dude's jacked. Like I said, I can get seduced by training camp pictures. And I think that the Raiders, I have an untapped. I mean, it's going to be Waller. I know we've got some exposure via Drake, but I think that there's plenty of targets to be had in that Raiders offense. And I think that if Bryan Edwards steps it up and actually comes to produce, I don't think he had a bad profile. I think the analytics liked him coming out last year. I know he was kind of a darling of rookie draft season last year. I could easily see him taking a step up. Now, obviously, he could take a step back and whatever it is, but that's the right kind of bet that we should be making here. Like the
I like him, but I don't think Traquan is. I think Traquan has a similar upside.
Yep.
Maybe Edwards might catch some balls, but I think with Traquan, we still took a high upside guy that could again fall flat on his face. Edwards certainly has the draft capital. We had such high hopes for him last year, but they bring in Smokey Brown, they bring in Willie Snead. I know those names are not anything exciting, but with Gruden, sometimes those veterans are very appealing. So I don't know. I like Edwards. I think the 16th round is fine for him, but I'm not as invested in him. I'm not betting on him as hard as you are, I think, right now.
No. And he's gonna be the perfect first drop.
Yep, exactly.
The perfect
you'll drop him
drop.
You'll drop him after week 1 when he has 3 catches, and then week 2 he'll have 8 catches for $125 and break.
Oh yeah.
That's just how it goes in these.
And things. I'm just sticking my head in the microwave. That's how that one goes.
So number 6, if 6 is there when we pick, we're taking 6. It's a player I really, really like.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I hope he lasts till there, but I think it's he would be the ideal pick for me here. If not, I think number 5, who you have queued up, is good, and I think number 7, who you have queued up, is good.
Okay. And of course,
I'm trying to see if there's anybody else we're missing. I'm just going to queue up one more guy.
Did we queue up the same guy? Because I had one and he was gone, and I just added another one. We'll see how it goes from here. We're three picks away here. So far our build is, oh my God, I'm going to try to math, but I shouldn't be mathing because isn't there there's just a beautiful thing here for me. So we've got 2 quarterbacks. We've got, oh God, I am in a math. 5 running backs so far on the board. 7 wide receivers and 2 tight ends. So I'm feeling pretty good about the build. I know you're interested in potentially adding a running back or 2 here. From my perspective, again, left to my own devices, Theo, I'm probably sticking with 5 running backs and playing the waiver wire. But again, that's just my perspective. That's why we're a partnership here.
So I think that hopefully we can just take him and talk about him. But with number 6, I think you're kind of playing the waiver wire. Let's see if we get to him. We got one more pick before. I really hope we don't get sniped on this guy.
No, we're in. So
okay.
Go ahead,
so
go ahead.
I think that Jared Dokes is who we're going to take here. And like you said, it's almost like playing the waiver wire in the preseason.
Early.
I don't think that I think that there's a scenario where Dokes leads Miami in fantasy points from the running back position. I think that he's very appealing to me. He's got good size. I think that this is a easy selection for us.
He's a beefcake.
What's that?
He's a beefcake. He's a big boy.
He's workout warrior type guy, and he looks the part. And his competition right now is Malcolm Brown and Myles Gaskin. So I think this is a good pick for us. Let's lock him up.
All right, locked up. All right, so we've got 18, 19, 20. 2 of those picks need to be the kicker defense. So Theo, do you want to do one of those onesie positions here, or are you interested in something else? I don't. So mind.
I would go with number 6 if you want to do the lock up our defense. But I'll say number 5 is good value. He's going a little bit earlier than this, and it would get us a tight end 3, which is not necessary, but I think it could be a guy. We could talk about him after. Why don't we take the defense we like? We want to go with the New England defense here.
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. And I like the New England defense because I think that they're going to be good. I think that they're going to have plenty of opportunities for turnovers with the schedule that they play. I think they're a good defense anyways. But what I love about them is they have a week 14 bye that allows, if they're performing really, really well, to not have to manage the waivers over the course of those first couple of weeks. And I think that's
a great take.
Yep.
And also with Cam Newton as the quarterback, that seems like they're gonna be able to run the ball. They're gonna be defensive oriented. I like it. You get 2 matchups against the Jets. Miami's not exactly setting the world on fire. I know they could be, but I'll go with the Patriots. I like that defense, and I think that's solid value for us.
Yeah.
So the player that we had, there goes Malcolm Brown, another guy we had in our queue who's interesting around here.
Don't throw in the towel on the guy that we like here. Yeah, we just may get him, Theo.
Yeah,
you talking about number 4? I don't want
to say his name.
Yeah, I don't throw in the towel just yet. Don't throw in the towel just yet.
I'll throw out one other guy just because of the team build, and this will be a 20th round selection. I just put him in our queue. And then I'll throw out 1 or 2 other guys.
So while you're doing that, Theo, listen to this. This is let's talk about something personal. So I just came straight like a bat out of hell from kickball. So I am athletically fat, if you will, not to brag. So listen to this, Theo. Get on first base, kickball, mind you, company kickball. So batter kicks ball, but allegedly was a foul ball because he kicked it before the plate. But I hauled ass, Theo. I was going, buddy. And I made it all the way to home plate. And then the ref was like, yeah, sorry, it was a foul ball. You got to go back to first. So look, I've been drinking. We pre-gamed, had a lot of fun. This is great. Love company kickball. Nobody yells at other companies better than I do. So I'm sitting there on first base, and I'm like, not puking per se, but I'm just like, I'm huffing and puffing. And I step off the base. I'm facing the outfield. I'm just like, it's like, ugh, ugh. And you know what that home plate umpire did to me, Theo? Called me out. Said, hey, per rules of kickball, if the ball is pitched and you're off the base, you're out. Calls me out. I'm sitting there just like hacking up a lung. And the umpire calls me out, and the first base ref is just like, "Hey, man, it's her call." Like, I got owned. I got owned tonight in kickball. So I thought I would show up here in the live stream that I got absolutely owned in kickball.
It's the integrity of the game, the kickball sport.
Oh my God! Well, she was managing the integrity of the game like hard. Like that was like number 1 job tonight. Then
I'll just point out we had queued up Dalton Schultz goes in the middle of the 18th round. That's why I was kind of apprehensive about Jarwin. We'd had Jarwin queued up earlier. Jarwin is obviously the would we say it's a 65-35? Jarwin leads the tight, but it's not 9-10. And we haven't heard a whole lot out of Dallas that it's absolutely Jarwin. Schultz had some good games last year, useful games, and he showed an ability to play tight end in this league. I'm not sure that that's not either going to be an ugly split or a tight end competition, and I think people are not treating it as that right now.
Yep.
So we have Buffalo D goes.
I think, Theo, if we don't go Kmet there, and like a Jarwin with the build that we had with Dak and Lamb, I think if somehow Jarwin gets back to the 13th round there, and again, this is like a coulda, shoulda, woulda because I'm talking about 20 picks. I think Jarwin's a smash pick at that 13-12 for us, especially if we don't have Kmet on the board. But you're absolutely right with what we were thinking. I just don't think that's like don't reach for stacks.
Yeah, and also I think Jarwin, in this draft he goes in the 12th. I've seen him go in the 11th. So I think people want a piece of the Dallas offense, and Jarwin looks the part when he's on the field. But again, like you said, it would be kind of a stack forcing. I like our second stack that we built here with with Kmet, Robinson, and Fields. That's kind of fun to have in our back pocket.
It's going to feel great when like Dak has another like career-ending horrific injury, and we're going to be sad for a minute, and it's going to be sad for him, but we're going to be like, well, yeah, sad for Dak, but we've got Justin Fields in the wings.
This team needs Dak, so I'm gonna hope that doesn't happen. I mean, listen, we're already picking out of the 12 spot. We need a healthy Dak. We need Dak to compete for quarterback 1 overall, and he has a nice little correlation play with CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. I know we're both extremely high on CeeDee Lamb right now.
Oh God, yes.
I love where we got Lamb. I think Lamb. I've seen Lamb go higher than this. To get him at the 3-4 turn is pretty good.
Yeah. And Theo, we have CD in our triflexing, right? God, it's the best, isn't it?
No, we have Amari Cooper.
We have Cooper. We have Cooper.
But we have Cooper. I mean, it's still we still have for our triflex team. We have Cooper in the wide receiver 3 spot. So we're feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, it feels good. Theo, we're up in a couple picks. I like 4, which you were going to give up on 4. Oh, and there goes the. Oh no, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that pick.
So I'm okay with 4.
I like 4 and 6.
Yeah, so I'd say 4 or 6 is fine. And then I would throw out 7 for if we end up with 6, I would say we take 7 in the 20th. But I like 4.
Let me put it to you this way. I do not love 7. I just don't love that build.
So let's not take them. Let's not take them.
But I like, and we've got 1 pick to go. I think we just do 6 right away. Are you good on 6, or is there somebody else?
Yeah, let's do 6.
Oh, good. I'm safe.
Okay,
I'm
so
safe
the guy that we had queued up that Shelly did not like, that I think is okay here, was Ty Johnson, and he just got picked. So
and we're talking 19th round picks.
Why don't we take 4 and 6 right here?
Okay, let me do 6 because we have to. We're forced to. So we're gonna do Matt Gay. So we're gonna have another late buy like that from a kicker perspective. I like high scoring offenses. So that'll be great. So let's talk about this. We're looking at the queue. Theo, you said 4. Look, normally I would say I 1 through 3 would be more up my style, but I don't mind having 4, especially because we don't have a smash 1 through 4.
I'll throw out one more guy just based on the vibes out of camp.
Yeah, and look, and let's talk about him. We're talking about Dan Arnold as potentially a tight end 3, or potentially another wide receiver running back here. Yeah,
so Dan Arnold to me is
and throw out the other player because we can talk about it because it's our last pick and it is what it is. So
I threw Keelan Cole in there just because I live on Long Island and there's been a lot of bullish people on Keelan Cole.
So let's make the call, Theo. What do you think?
I say we go Dan Arnold and we get a tight end 3 right here.
Dan Arnold. Here we go. Dan Arnold. And of course, the one of the guys that we had queued up goes, 20.
Well, it makes sense. So looking at our team, a few things are need to go right for us. We're going to really need Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, and Allen Robinson to all be wide receiver 1s.
Yep.
If I think that Tyreek is a lock, but we're going to need Lamb to really take a step forward. Just looking at the guys who we could have gotten instead of Lamb. I mean, you could have gone, Hawkinson or Carson and kind of had a more balanced approach. But I think Lamb was the correct pick we made. So we need Antonio Gibson to be a top 8 running back.
Yep, has to be.
Which I think he could be. And we need Judy or Debo to be a top 20 wide receiver. And I think that could happen. And then in terms of what we did starting in the 9th round, I like the Drake and Williams back to back. I think we're going to get enough out of those guys in the first few weeks to get by at the running back 2 spot, provided that Antonio Gibson is doing his thing. And then we both love Rondale Moore. We had Rondale Moore and Gabe Davis queued up. We went more. Cole Kmet. We wanted Adam Troutman, but I think getting Kmet was fine.
Yeah.
You agree on that one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Absolutely. I mean, I think that's a fine consolation prize. And look, our hope is that we're not playing two tight ends. So our hope is that Goddard is good enough to carry us for the most part. So
yep. And then Ramondre and Darrington Evans, we discussed a little bit already.
yeah.
You know, two upside guys in potentially, or they could be guys we're cutting. I'm higher on Evans than Stevenson. Stevenson was a value selection, and to be honest, the running back spot had dried up a lot heading into it. Justin Fields, we both love,
Yeah.
and we got him there. You know, your thoughts on Fields this year, Shelley? You think finishes higher than Lance or about the same?
High on Lance. Well, look, I'll put it to you this way: we got, Fields 14 picks after Lance. I love where we got him, so I'm all in on that, and I think that if Fields isn't starting week 1, I think it's shortly thereafter. So I'm not worried.
And then Traquan adds to our wide receiver depth.
Well,
right now,
Theo, Traquan's going to be a beautiful week 1 cut. Like it's just like his roster spot is like on the first on the chopping block. I can't wait to cut him.
Yeah, it's it's right now it's who's the number? He's competing with Marquez Callaway, I believe.
Either that or like Deontay Harris if you're competing for a wide receiver 2 spot with a
I think it's going to be Callaway or Smith. Yeah. I'm willing to bet on Smith. They're talking up Smith whenever they can. Smith had some nice games last year when Thomas was missing. We've all been kind of waiting for Traquan, so I'm fine getting him there. Dokes is my guy. I like Dokes a lot.
Yeah.
And I like having him there. So again, it's like playing the waiver wire. Dokes could be, I don't want to say he's going to be, but he could be, a James Robinson, Myles Gaskin type where he kind of comes out of nowhere and does his thing. The only knock on Dokes is draft capital. If Dokes was a 4th rounder or 5th rounder in the exact same situation, I think the fantasy community would be higher on him. But he's a 7th rounder. And but again, it's Malcolm Brown, who I think is a fine player, but he's, an ordinary back. And then Myles Gaskin, who everybody is in love with. And I don't hate Myles Gaskin. I probably won't draft a lot of them this year. But you're talking about a guy who was a waiver wire find last year. And now he's going in the 5th round of every draft. So
that's right.
I'm not a huge fan of those, street free agent type guys becoming high draft pick guys. It just doesn't work out historically. So I'm just willing to bet on Dokes' talent. And again, he might be a preseason cut if it looks like he's not going to do a thing. And if Ahmed passes him by, so Ahmed's also in the mix there. And he wasn't terrible. He only played like 3 games, but he had decent production. So I'll bet on Dokes. And then, like you said, we got good value from New England and Matt Gay. So we have a defense we like and a kicker we like in an offense we consider to be a good one in LA. And then we take our tight end 3, Dan Arnold, who again could be a cut. But his competition right now is Tommy Tremble. And we all like Carolina passing game, and Darren Arnold flashed a little bit in Arizona. He never really played a high number of snaps, but he made some nice catches and he showed athletic ability. So I'm okay. So you feel pretty good about this team?
Oh yeah. And shout out to Christian in the chat. Let us know if you were in this draft, which team you were. You can talk about your team too. Theo, I love this draft. This was great. Out of the 12 spot, like I said, I feel really comfortable here. It's the personality of. I don't mind getting crazy. I don't mind being unique. It's a tough spot to overcome, especially when you're in a draft with a lot of sharks in the water, which we had here. So I think that we did a great job. Here's my question to you, Theo.
Shelley, I'm actually gonna cut you off because I'm about to lose power on this on my iPad. But I can go back. I can actually jump in if we want to review this a little more. Let me.
No. We're good. I was just going to ask if there was something that we did tonight that you wouldn't have otherwise done. But look, we can say that for another pod. We're going to do another couple of these.
Yeah, I say we do one of these. Let's do one of these next week or the following. Yeah. I thought this was great, and I like our build, and I'm looking forward to doing more drafts with you.
Awesome. All right, Theo. Well, thanks everybody. Let's subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe in the the podcast channel, the Goat District. Thanks, Theo. This was great. And we'll catch everybody later. LFG. Thanks, Theo.